Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Presley Mania. My name is Rhonda, and I'm going to be talking about the Priscilla movie. I went and saw it Friday, and I'm here to give you my review on it. Last week, we went over what some of the critics have said, and I'm here to just let you know my thoughts and feelings on it and what I thought about it. First of all, let me just say, let me get it out there. Some of you are going to be shocked, but I honestly did not feel that it was as bad as it had been portrayed. Last week I told you that a couple of the critics called Elvis a monster. They called him controlling, that it painted him in a very bad light. I'm sorry, I didn't really see that. Now, if you are from a younger generation, you may have seen it that way. And some of these critics were. But always keep in mind when you're viewing the film, the context of the time period it's talking about. It was a really different time back then. The way that men treated women, the way it was acceptable for men to treat women. I'm not going to say it's right or it's wrong. It was just different. The man was the head of the household. What he said was the way it went. And that's just how it was. Most women back then did not have a job. They didn't work full time. They stayed home. They raised a family. They prepared the meals. They took care of their man and their family. That being said, it is a little different with Priscilla and Elvis because Elvis was a famous rock star and there was a whole lot of difference. She really didn't have to keep house. She had maids and people to do that for her. She really did not have to cook meals. She had maids and people to do that for her. But when they say that Elvis was a monster to her, I didn't see it at all. Yes, there is a scene in the movie. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a bug in my throat, a little catch. There is a scene in the movie where he asks her about what she thought about some of the songs he'd been sent. And she sat there a minute and she thought about it. And she said, well, that basically she really didn't care for them. And he got mad. And he threw a chair at the wall. And she was standing right by it. Okay, but you got to keep in mind, he didn't throw that chair because he was angry at her. Should he have thrown it? No, he shouldn't have thrown it. But he was angry at the situation he was in. And sometimes we tend to overreact when, there's a lot of other things going on in our life. And it just takes one little comment and it just kind of sends you over the edge. You know what I mean? I'm going to start with some of the little things that bothered me, and these are just little critical nuances that bugged Rhonda. Okay, so the first one was this. I wondered why they had Curry Grant depicted under another name. His name was Terry in the film. And could it be quite possibly because of the legal suit that he and Priscilla had many years back? Curry Grant is the one who introduced Priscilla to Elvis. He's the one who spotted her at the club when she was in Germany and asked her if she would like to meet Elvis and if she liked Elvis. But his name was Terry then. Okay, this one is completely off the wall. Can somebody please tell me why they had Dee Presley, Vernon's wife, driving Gladys's pink Cadillac? That really bugs me. I don't think Elvis would have allowed that. I don't think that would have ever happened. If it did, it had to have been when he was on the road in California or Vegas or somewhere and not at home in Memphis. The other things that I noticed were that most of the scenes were depicted, when they depicted a home, were done at Graceland. The first time Priscilla came to visit Elvis was not at Graceland. It was at LA. And she even says that in her book. She came back at Christmas time, and that trip was to Graceland. So yeah, that was kind of different, and I just figure it was because of budget constraints and that type of thing, because I don't think they had a very big budget to do this movie. The movie shows Priscilla as lonely and neglected. It kind of painted Elvis, in my opinion, as selfish and self-centered. And like I said, I didn't see him depicted as a monster or overly controlling. Yes, they did show him picking out some clothing for her, but it wasn't done in a bad way. And yes, they talked about he thought that she would look good with black hair and heavier eye makeup and it would make her eyes stand out. But again, I did not take that like it was meant to be, you've got to be this way or else. You know, I just didn't see it that way at all. It also did show a scene where she comes walking into the bedroom. Elvis is asleep and he rouses up and she's in this print dress. And he basically asked her, "What in the world do you have on?" And she was just kind of like, you know, didn't say very much, as I recall. And he told her, and y'all probably seen this scene, "Well, you know, I don't think prints are not your thing. You are too small. You need to wear solid colors." And that dress was kind of like a baby doll tint sort of dress. And he also told her, he said, "You need to wear things that are a little more fitted and show your figure." He said, "That doesn't do anything for you." Well, she got mad. She went and she slammed the door. as any woman would do, right? So anyway, I am not taking up for her, but I'm just telling you that's what happened. But the funny thing is, to me, is she continued throughout the movie to wear printed dresses. So if he was that controlling of her, why did they keep depicting her in those? Why didn't they show her only in solid colors and that kind of thing? And I think it's because he wasn't that controlling. I mean, if you go back and you look at real life videos of her and Elvis together and photos of them, yeah, she's in some solid color dresses, but she also wears, you know, the big prints, especially when they were in Hawaii. She had on the big hats, you know, with all the prints on them, and the dresses with all the lots and lots of prints. That was the style back then. That's what people wore. So honestly, I disagree with that. I don't think that he was controlling, and I honestly don't feel like, maybe I'm taking up for Priscilla a little bit here, which is unusual for me, granted, but I don't feel like that was what she really wanted to depict him as. Because even in the Piers Morgan interview, he asked her about that, and she said, "No, it was a different time. That's just how things were, and I did not see him that way." Next, I felt the film was somewhat disjointed. It didn't have a good flow to it. One of the critics I listened to last week said it doesn't really show how Priscilla got from here she is at point A, totally in love with Elvis, to point B, to where she's fed up and she's sick of it and she has to leave. I didn't feel the flow of the movie. I thought it was choppy and just went from here to here to here. And I'm wondering if that is because we have recently learned that Lisa Marie had sent some emails to Sofia Coppola regarding the movie. let me give you just a little background so you will have a timeline and be able to put this in perspective of when it happened. Okay, on September 12th of 2022, they announced that Sofia Coppola would direct an adaptation of Priscilla Presley's memoir, Elvis and Me. The production began filming on October 24th of 22. Okay? Lisa's emails were said to have been sent in September of 2022, according to the LA Times. I want to read you a little bit of the emails from these. This is as they were printed in Variety, so you can hear what she had to say. The emails also reflect what was personally at stake for Lisa Marie Presley. Okay, here she goes. Sophia. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was out of place. She says, my father only comes across as a predator and manipulative. As his daughter, I don't read this and see any of my father in this character. I don't read this and see my mother's perspective of my father. I read this and see your shockingly vengeful and contemptuous perspective, and I don't understand why. Presley wrote this in one of her messages. Okay, she had gotten a script and she had gone through it, and that was her reaction after reading the script. Apparently, she sent 2 emails to Sophia within 4 hours of each other. So while Coppola had yet to roll the cameras on Priscilla when Lisa reached out to her, Sophia told her bluntly that Lisa Marie told her she would speak out bluntly about the project and her mother, who is credited as an executive producer and has participated in publicity for the A24 release. Okay, let me read that to you again, because I think the way I stated it was a little confusing and I want to make sure you understand. Variety said it this way. While Coppola had yet to roll cameras on Priscilla when Presley reached out, the latter told her bluntly that she would speak out against the project and her mother, who is credited as an executive producer and has participated in publicity for the A24 release. There's something else before we keep going further on that I wanted to mention to you guys too. The movie was released at the Venice International Film Festival on 9/4 of 23, so September 4th of 23. It was originally to be distributed by Stage 6 Films and Sony Pictures Releasing International outside the United States and Italy. Sony later exited the project upon Presley's estate withholding music rights. Okay, so that may have a little something to do with Lisa Marie's emails with the Elvis Presley Enterprises not getting behind this movie, because they knew that she was upset by it. Lisa goes on to say, I will be forced to be in a position where I will have to openly say how I feel about the film and go against you, my mother, and this film publicly. She says, I am worried that my mother isn't seeing the nuance here or realizing the way in which Elvis will be perceived when the movie comes out. I feel protective over my mother, who has spent her whole life elevating my father's legacy. I am worried she doesn't understand the intentions behind this film or the outcome it will have. Lisa Marie Presley also seemed to appeal to Coppola's own Hollywood legacy. I would think of all people that you would understand how this would feel, she wrote, alluding to Coppola's famous family, which includes her father, the Godfather director Francis Ford Coppola. Why are you coming for my dad and my family? The same insider familiar with Lisa Marie Presley said her communications with Coppola were shared with Priscilla Presley, as well as Lisa Marie Presley's daughter, the actor Riley Keough. We will go back to that. The emails also reflect what was personally at stake for Lisa Marie. Let me take a sip of water here, y'all. Sophia, there is one more thing I'd like to add. Presley concluded her second note to Coppola. She shared an anecdote about one of her young twins, Harper Lockwood, who was sent a trade announcement about Priscilla going into production. And Lisa goes on to write to Sophia, and she says, I had to explain that we are going to have to endure another hit in our lives. That there is going to be a movie about her grandfather that is going to try to make him look really, really bad, but it's not true. I had to explain that her beloved grandmother is supporting it. These two little girls have been through so much in the past 7 years, enduring my divorce and horrific custody battle and then losing their brother. We've all been drowning, Lisa Marie Presley wrote. That breaks my heart. That really does break my heart. They had been through a lot. And before I close what Variety had to say on this article, I want to go back to what she said, that her mother knew about these emails and Riley knew about these emails. Yet Priscilla still went through with it. That speaks volumes to me. Now, I did say that the movie wasn't as bad as I had thought it was going to be. But listen to this. An insider close to the film said the exchanges were made on September 2nd, 2022, only weeks away from starting production on Priscilla. The source said the film is exclusively based on Elvis and Me, that's Priscilla's book, and efforts were made to tone down some elements of the book regarding the couple's courtship that would have been shocking to contemporary audiences. Coppola's goal was to tell a love story, the insider said, with the primary tension of the film being Priscilla's struggles to adapt to life with a global superstar. Lisa Marie Presley is believed to have seen an early draft of the script, said the source, which eventually was trimmed by about 10 pages when principal photography started on October 24th, 2022. Okay, so back to what I said, that the movie seemed like it didn't have a good flow and that it was disjointed. Could it be that based on their budget was small, that when they started taking out pieces of the script, it left holes? It left holes, maybe not showing how Priscilla, came to Graceland and was totally in love with Elvis. It showed that, but it didn't show her progression to how she got to where she couldn't stay any longer. So it was interesting. I also noted another thing. Lisa Marie was not in this movie very much. They did not show her around. Yes, the very beginning of it, Lisa Marie wasn't even thought of. But after she was born, there were very few scenes with her in it. And I thought that was a little odd because she played a really big part in her daddy's life. It goes on to tell me, after reading what she said in her emails, how very, very important her daddy was to her and his legacy. Make no mistake about it, Lisa Marie Presley loved her daddy, and her daddy loved her. And she did not want to see him portrayed in a light that would bring shame on him, that would cause her children, Priscilla's grandchildren, Lisa's children, to see Elvis as something he really wasn't. The generation, the day and age that we're living in now is completely different than it was back then. So if some of you are younger who are watching my video and you haven't seen the movie yet, I hope you will take that into account and realize that things were different in that time and age. And the way they are now, no, none of that probably would have ever flown, you know. But that was the time period. Um, am I happy that Priscilla went ahead and did this movie after Lisa Marie's objections? No. No, I'm not. I wish she wouldn't have done it. I wish Priscilla wouldn't have done the movie. But again, it wasn't quite as bad as I expected it to be. If I were you, I would wait until it comes out on TV to watch it. I think it was more suited for television in the first place than it ever was for a big screen. So if you want to see it, wait till it comes out on TV. Don't waste your money. Don't put more money in her pocket. Unless you love Priscilla, and then by all means, go ahead. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope that you have enjoyed my recap of this movie. Please write below what you think in the comments. I would love to hear them. Like I said, it is hard for me to answer every single one of them. I got, I think, over 600 comments on my last video that I posted. So, but I do read them. I read every single one of them, the good and the bad. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate those comments. I appreciate you taking the time to let me know that you viewed it. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell. It will notify you when I have videos coming out. It will, if you are subscribed to my channel and you hit that bell, it will let you know when my next video will be uploaded. I try to upload them on Mondays, so just keep a lookout for those. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.